You've always dreamed of becoming a millionaire, but you're just not sure how to get there. I think that's normal. I was once in your shoes, have been blessed enough to make it to the other side, and I'm going to show you how you can do it in 2023 in this video. Who doesn't want to be a millionaire? I mean, there was literally a show that said, who wants to be a millionaire? I believe in our society that being a millionaire has been one of the most prestigious bars that's been set for the average person. I mean, when I was a kid, think back to when you were younger, if you didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't. My dad's a pastor. We never had a lot of money. My parents still to this day aren't very wealthy. I've never been given a dime. The thought of becoming a millionaire in our household just didn't exist. It was far-fetched. It was like there was two things in my life that I thought I could never do. Go to Hollywood, California, and become a millionaire. Well, I've accomplished both of them, and what you learn when you're on the other side is it's actually not that far-fetched. And not to downplay it, it's a fantastic achievement, but once you hit it, it's kind of like, okay, I've hit it. Great, what do I do now? Well, let's keep growing, and then you realize, well, it really isn't that much money compared to what I'm going to be able to do, because once you reach $1 million, it's just going to compound very quickly to make you 2 million, 3 million, 4 million and on. But I think getting to that first million is probably the hardest. I think number one, it's because it's mindset. A lot of us, like I mentioned, have been brought up to that's just not something that's real attainable. Like, oh, he's a millionaire, right? So it makes us think, unfortunately, we're programmed through the system to believe that we can't achieve that unless we do some extravagant special thing. We got to be the next Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, whoever. And that's just not true. The everyday average person has full capability to become a millionaire, and you don't have to wait until retirement. Unfortunately, the norm has taught you, we'll put money into a retirement account, let it sit for 20, 30, 40 years. And then when you retire at 60 to 65, you'll become a millionaire. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to have to wait until 65 years old to, number one, become a millionaire, and number two, to be able to decide what I want my days to look like every day. So I can tell you this much, to become financially free at a young age, you're going to have more than $1 million. So we got to figure out how to get to that first million and then put a process in place that's going to be able to be scalable so that we can get into eventually, not to get ahead of ourselves, the multi-million-dollar space, which isn't that far-fetched. I'll tell you how here in a minute. So that we don't have to spend our lives on somebody else's schedules, work until we're really old to get a few years to play when our health's declining and we don't have youth on our side. So what does it mean to be a millionaire anyways? It means when your net worth reaches $1 million, you're a millionaire. So it doesn't mean you have $1 million in the bank. It doesn't mean that you make $1 million a year. What it means is you're going to take your assets, so everything you own that's worth something, real estate, the stock market, things of those natures, and you're going to subtract your expenses. So any debt you have, any notes that are owed, all that's going to come out. And so when you take your assets and you subtract your liabilities, when you're left with $1 million, you're a millionaire. Voila, it's that simple, right? Well, no, because we've got to figure out a way to get our assets high enough to when we subtract our liabilities, we have $1 million. Now, if you talk to 10 different people, they're going to give you different ideas on how to get there. But you're listening to a guy today who's done it, and I did it in about 2.5 years, and my wife and I achieved it on one income by the age of 29 years old. Oh, and by the way, we have been raising a family. We have 4 kids, 6 or younger. So all of this can be done while I was working a full-time job with one income while raising a family. We became millionaires by 29, multi-millionaires right before we were 31, and it's just compounding and growing every day because of things we've done up to this point and because of the systems we've put in place to carry us forward. So how do you do it? Well, we just said that your net worth is based on assets minus liabilities. So if we are going to become a millionaire and beyond, we have to be able to stack assets to our name. And by far, without a doubt, best way to grow your net worth very quickly and reach that $1 million mark is going to be through buying real estate. If you read the statistics, 90% of millionaires own real estate. It's no secret that this asset makes people wealthy. Now, unfortunately, there's this myth that real estate is only for the wealthy. I beg to differ. When I bought my first property, I had a negative $10,000 net worth. So I think, from my personal experience, that real estate is a tool that takes people from middle class to wealth. And then when you get to wealth, you obviously continue to buy real estate and it compounds and it makes you very wealthy. But everybody listening to this, who you may not have a lot of assets stacked to your name, and you're watching this video because you want to get there, real estate is for you. It is for the everyday average person. It's a tool that takes the everyday average person and turns them into one percenters. And it happens a lot faster than you think. Why and how? Well, when you buy real estate, you use what's called leverage. And so what that means is we can go buy this very expensive asset, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 house, and put very little, if any, of our own money in. And then over time, it's going to go up in value, okay, while renters are paying down your debt. So let me give you an example. So let's say we buy a house for $200,000. The bank will loan us, let's say, 75% of that, which means we're going to have a loan for $150,000. Well, we just said the house is worth $200,000 and the bank lent us $150,000. So what is our equity in that home? That's $50,000. Okay, well, if you buy another home and you do the same thing, you have $50,000 equity in that. Now you have two homes that have $50,000 equity. And so now you are worth $100,000. $50,000 equity in one house, $50,000 equity in two houses. Add those together, you have $100,000. Now equity, again, is just what a house is worth minus what you owe. Now our net worth, if you go back to earlier in the video, is going to be assets we own, right? So both of these assets combined, if we buy two $200,000 houses, they're worth $400,000, okay? And we owe $150,000 on each, so that's a total of $300,000. So we've got two houses that are worth $400,000. We've got mortgages total worth $300,000. Now our net worth is $100,000. Now we're worth $100,000 just off of two properties. Well, if you continue to do this math, with $50,000 in each equity that you buy, that's 20 homes that you have to get into your portfolio to become a millionaire. Now, every property may not be exactly $50,000 in equity. You may have some where you end up with $30,000 in equity, some where you do have $50,000 in equity, some you may get a great deal and you have $75,000 in equity. It can be across the board, but the point is if you start stacking rental properties into your portfolio and add them at volume, continue adding them to your portfolio over time, then you can reach $1 million net worth just off purchasing properties on the front end without factoring in future appreciation, which is just going to mean the property is going to continue going up in value over time. So when we bought it, it's worth $200,000 and we owed $150,000. Well, 2 years later, now it's worth $175,000, and the mortgage that's been being paid down by a tenant is only $140,000. Well, now our net worth has grown even more. Well, all the while, we've been adding properties to our portfolio, and so that same compound effect has not only been happening on one property, but it's been happening on two properties and three properties and four properties and 15 and 20 and 25 and 30. And this is how you build wealth and is what I believe the fastest way to become a millionaire. Now, you may be saying, well, that's great. I can afford to buy 20 properties with $50,000 in equity to make me a millionaire. I beg to differ. I think it's very simple to do. I do it, have done it, and I teach hundreds of people who are replicating the exact same process every day, building their dream life, working their way to $1 million net worth, $2 million net worth, $3 million net worth, which correlates to financial freedom, time freedom, more cash flow, and the life of their dreams. So how do we do it? Well, we have to be able to buy these properties leveraging other people's money. That is the name of the game. Because look, we all have a finite amount of dollars. Now there's some really rich people on planet Earth who could just buy as much real estate as they wanted and they could go for years. But the rest of us, we don't have 20 to 25% that we can put down on a $200,000 property, much less 20 $200,000 properties. But that's okay. You don't have to. You have to learn how to implement using other people's money. And there's a strategy that I use, and there's a strategy that hundreds of our students use, and there's a strategy that thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of other successful real estate investors have used for years. And it's a strategy known as the BRRRR strategy, which simply means that you're going to use somebody else's money to buy a property undervalued, usually distressed, and needs a little bit of love. We're going to buy it using private money, which is just somebody in our network, friends, family, coworkers, other investors, wealthy people, or people who have extra cash who want to make really good interest on their money. And or we're going to use hard money, which is just a company who will lend you usually somewhere between 85, 90, 95, sometimes 100% of the purchase of your properties and the rehab. And then there's times where we'll mix those two combinations, where we'll use private money and hard money. And so the whole point, the whole preface is we're going to get these people, whether it's the hard money lending companies or the private lenders, to give us money to buy these deals. And in return, we're going to pay them a pretty penny in interest. So we're going to pay them somewhere between 8 to 15% in interest. And they're going to be what's on what we call bridge loans. So they're going to be out for 365 days. And we're going to pay these private lenders interest-only payments monthly, or we're going to accrue interest for the amount of time that we have their loans out, and then we'll pay them back at the end of this process. So that's step one. We leverage other people's money to buy the property. Now, you may be saying, I can't do that. Yes, you can. There are thousands of people who've done it. There are 7 billion people on planet Earth. There are 350 million in the U.S. You just need one person to say, I will lend to your deals, and your life will be changed forever. And what you'll learn is, as you get that one person and earn trust with them, well, other people will start hearing about it and start seeing your success. And you'll go from, oh, I couldn't find a private lender at first, to which private lender do I use for these deals? And if you're wondering, how do I even go about getting a private lender? Go down to the show notes. I've put a link to a free guide I put together. It's 20 or 21 pages that teaches you everything about private lenders, how to have those conversations, who to talk to, how to talk to them about it so that you can get them in your corner. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take that private money or the hard money, other people's money, and we're going to buy the property. Not only are we going to buy the property, we're going to rehab the property with their money as well. So we're going to take this ugly, undervalued property and we're going to make it pretty. Once we've made it pretty, we're going to get a renter in place. Then we're going to go to a small local bank and we're going to do what's called a cash out refinance. So you bought an ugly, undervalued property, you made it pretty, you're going to go to the bank, you're going to say, hey, I want to get a long-term stable loan with you. The bank's going to order an appraisal on the property. The appraiser's going to give it a value based on what it's worth now that you've fixed it up. The bank will then write you a check for 80% of that new value. It'll go into your bank account. You take that check and you pay the private lender and hard money lender back. They all have their money back. You have your property on a long-term stable note, and then you just repeat this process. Because what you've done is you've got a long-term stable note on a property. Now you've got your firepower back because you've paid back your private money lender or hard money lender. They're the people who are going to get you to the closing table and allow you to buy these properties, and then we're going to pay them back. And then they're going to get you to the closing table for the next property, then you're going to pay them back. Next, pay them back. Next, pay them back. And you're going to do this over and over and over and over again, and you're going to scale this portfolio, and before you know it, you will become a millionaire. My wife and I, our first 2 properties we bought were in 2018, and in 2019, we learned how to implement this strategy. Nothing special about me, nothing fancy about me. When I started implementing this strategy, I only had 2 properties under my belt, so I was not some seasoned investor. We were able to implement this and add 19 units to our portfolio in 1 year in 2019. And by the end of that year, at the start of 2020, we had become millionaires. We bought our first property in the second half of 2018, and by 2020, we had become millionaires off of repeating this process over and over and over again. And if you will learn how to do this, go all in, get the mindset out that this isn't for me. The imposter syndrome's got to go. The paralysis by analysis has got to go. The fear of the unknown, the small mind, middle class thinking that this is not attainable for me has got to go. This is attainable for anyone who says, I want something more for my life. I want to create that dream life. I want financial freedom. I want time freedom. How bad do you want it? It's not just going to come to you. It's not just going to happen. You can't just have success in life because You want to. You have to put action in place. And I'm spelling out a strategy for you that is proven, that is worked time and time again for tons of people all across the globe. Listen to me. If they can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. I always give my wife a hard time when she was pregnant. We got 4 kids. They're all under 6. She was nervous with the first one. I said, oh, you'll be fine. I said, billions of women have had babies. Now, obviously, that's not the smartest thing to say to a pregnant woman, but you get the drift. Like, I was giving her a hard time saying, if they can do it, you can do it. The same is true with buying real estate and leveraging other people's money. If we can do it, you can do it. And so you've got to apply yourself. You've got to surround yourself with people who can guide you, who can get you where you want to go, and you got to take action. That's all there is to it. You have to take action. And there's going to be bumps along the road. You're going to learn things that you never thought you would want to learn. You're going to have conversations that you never thought would have. You're going to face challenges that you didn't even know existed. But if you will say, I'm okay with that because I want to reap the benefits that are going to come from it, then you will create a life for yourself, for your family, and you'll be able to leave a legacy that most people don't, because they sit on the sidelines with the mindset that it's not for them, that it's too hard, that it's not worth it. I'm here to tell you, folks, it's worth it. And I truly believe that you listening to this video, if you want to become a millionaire, if you implement this strategy, it will happen for you, and it will happen quicker than you think. And the next thing you know, you'll be worth $2 million. And the next thing you know, you'll be worth $3 million, and then $5 million, $7 million, $10 million. It'll keep going. You're going to keep growing your wealth, and you're going to reach this point in your life to where money isn't an issue. And that's a whole video for a whole nother day. But when you reach the point where money isn't an issue in your life, life becomes different. Money didn't buy happiness, but I can tell you this much. It allows you to do a lot more things that in turn make you happy. Do you want to wake up and worry about money every day? Or do you want to start buying assets that have proven for centuries that will take you out of that life of having to worry about money and enter you into a life of prosperity, time freedom, and financial freedom? Now look, everybody likes to go about this their own way. You can go learn the information. Maybe you have somebody in your hometown who can help you. Great. Link up with another investor or other investors, get in their corner. If you don't have that and you want to expedite the process, great. Let me know. There's a link in our bio. You can set up a call with myself or our team. We'll talk you through what we can do for you, how you can leverage our community and our resources to do this the right way, to have the safety nets in place, to feel confident about every property that you buy so that you can go on this journey, not alone, not trying to figure things out, but have the answers you need when you need them. You may say, hey, I'm not at that point. That is great. A-okay. I'm going to keep giving you tons of videos with information like this to be able to help you along your journey either way. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you get updated every time I release a new video, and then go and check one of these videos out that we've already got that's going to help you and grow that knowledge in the real estate space so that you can create the life of your dreams. I've done it. Thousands of others have done it. I know you can do it too. So go get them.